Japan, land of the rising sun and home to one of the most technologically advanced metropolises in the world. Housing over 125 million people, Japan is one of the most densely populated locations on Earth. With over 3,500 separate businesses operating within 47 prefectures, this all amounted to the perfect storm once the world crossed into 2020. As the entire world went on lockdown, many of the workforce in creative and business practices had to adapt and set up shop from their home offices, working through video conferencing and emails to continue their day-to-day roles. While the pandemic continued its spread throughout the world, technology groups within these companies were tasked with a monumental challenge. How do you create a secure network for a collaborative, shared user base while always safeguarding our protected intellectual property?
All right. I know. This is all pretty heavy. I'm gonna course correct here though and move us away from the horrible tragedy that was 2020 as we all know it. Though it is important to keep in mind that in regards to the target of today's episode, the entertainment industry and its workforce application, we were all just not prepared for the radical shift in day-to-day life. This was especially true for our friends overseas. It hit them the hardest, as the idea of remote work or hybrid models wasn't even really part of their culture, or their beliefs for that matter. All right, everyone with me? Same page? All right, let's get back to it. Roll it!
In a fan-fueled zeitgeist, hardly anything is safe from being leaked to overeager audiences. This has been proven time and time again with some of the largest publishers of the industry, such as Ubisoft. Multi-million-dollar franchises like Assassin's Creed can be leaked entirely, even a year before they are ready to be revealed to the general public. This can fuel the fires and in some ways promote the revealed property, but often has negative effects, even harming their investors. With all these looming threats to properties and their creative labor, there is a small building nestled on a small corner of Kyoto, Japan. This unassuming gray building seems immune to all outside influence and has understandably been compared to the Area 51 of gaming.
Area 51 of gaming. Who writes this? Oh, yeah. Well, hey, as you may have figured it out, this is of course the creative hive mind that is Nintendo of Japan. Join me today as we explore this creative giant in regards to their absence over the last couple of years. Maybe we can help explain what may have happened and why their absence has been felt more now than ever before. I want to welcome everyone, one and all, to the very first episode of Save Points.
With the world in lockdown, the largest creative studios in the industry had to shift gears fast to accommodate a growing need for remote work. The idea of a user's ability to access private servers and data in a production pipeline from the comfort of their own home was a difficult sell, and had many corporations seeking alternative solutions. This was none more apparent than within the guarded walls of Nintendo. Japan harbors the lowest rate of remote work for any country in the world. They simply were not prepared for the gigantic shift in the shared work methodology.
I want to clarify something here. Nintendo understandably has not made any of the information we're about to cover available publicly. This is educated theorizing, at best, with rooted knowledge in marketing within a scheduled production pipeline. With that said, it's likely in their concentrated effort to prioritize their employees' safety, this was their strategy. All right, clear? Good? Let's go!
If we assume this was the case, then we can begin to complete the puzzle of Nintendo's notable absence in the proverbial gaming spotlight. With multiple delays in communication, project announcements slowed to a trickle as we entered 2021. This was understandably due to a lack of product from Nintendo. wherein this was likely due to a lack of production. If we analyze the production output over the last couple of years and multiple delays of Nintendo's largest properties, one can assume those development pipelines were likely locked down. Entering the holidays of this year, it will be 5.5 years without a mainline installment of Nintendo's greatest first-party properties, The Legend of Zelda, or a 3D mainline Mario title.
Wait. 5 years? That can't be right. Oh, I know. You could, if you were so feline, include Bowser's Fury. Sorry, you were so inclined. No, sorry, that was a horrible joke. Don't go. Sorry. I really thought it was a great re-meowster. Meow. Looking at Zelda, specifically, we haven't seen an entry in that franchise for 3 years now. You must understand, from a financial and creative output, this is not normal for this company at all. The largest gap before this, respectively, was between The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Famicom Super Nintendo and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Though, keep in mind, that included an entire recreation of engineering and a representation in a three-dimensional space, essentially recreating the proverbial wheel within the gaming industry, changing that formula forever. More to come there on a future episode.
If we look at this mounting evidence, the missing pieces start to fall into place. The reason production halted wasn't because they weren't able to work from home, although that likely did factor in. It was because Nintendo did not allow remote access to any of their servers or distribution points. With Nintendo being the target of multiple security attacks and data thefts, the infrastructure was likely not there to support this production pipeline.
Now, you couldn't blame Nintendo for this, as they likely never saw a scenario where the workforce couldn't work from their offices. In a company as old as Nintendo, I'm sure old policies and family values and, well, just overall Japanese customs and culture replaced the ideas of modern security, at least as we would know them. In other words, if you worked for Nintendo, you were honored to, well, work for Nintendo. They likely exist within their own protected bubble. Think of it like a wonderfully protected chocolate factory. Therefore, they were unable to allow their intellectual properties out into the homes of their employees through their own private networks. No golden tickets here. Adding this up, they simply lost, by what we can ascertain, at the least 18 months of actual production. Now, keep in mind, it wasn't that if nothing was done, it just means the creation of all the art and assets and game environments, etc., the real production, as it were, was halted, while Japan and, well, in effect, the world began to recover.
Throughout various industries, this understandably was the case. Production lines met multiple delays, and schedules continued to be pushed back. Though this did not in any way stop the demand. In fact, it likely made it much worse.
Here we go!
We are still witnessing the effects of this every day, and will understandably continue to for some time.
It's not a stretch to imagine with the entertainment and technology industry, this was felt the hardest. With everyone in lockdown and essentially all other ideas and public places closed, it seemed like the world turned to that which would entertain them and help them escape from their day-to-day. Video games. The three major pillars of the gaming industry are Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Combined, they contribute to a $300 billion industry. That's billion, with a B. With them as a core pillar, Nintendo out of the gate would have always been under an enormous spotlight. With over 100 million Nintendo Switch systems sold, they have understandably captivated a loyal and hungry audience. Any absence would be seen under that spotlight, to be sure, but ones that push over a half-decade? Well, you can see those from space. Heavy is the crown, as they say.
As we move through the end of 2022 and onward, I would ask you to keep this in mind. For every announcement that doesn't get made, or any reveal that might slip from its targeted schedule, remember, there is an army of incredibly talented people that continue to make the best of an uncertain future. Perhaps, for the next presentation that we all sit on the edges of our seats for, eyes glued unblinkingly to what gets us so excited for the future of entertainment. We would humbly ask that you might remember what we covered in today's episode, and how involved and complicated that path is to present it to you, the viewer and consumer.
Not so direct, huh? Thank you for watching Save Points. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to like and consider subscribing. New content is on its way, and for all the latest information, feel free to follow on all social media platforms. Thank you, one and all, and remember to always continue gaming.